Welcome back to r/JustNoMother-in-law, where we read stories from our own subreddit about insane in-laws, but of course only with permission from the authors. Without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. How the shiniest spine came from a dark place, JustNoMother-in-law. This story is like the appetizer to a course of meals. I don't know how many courses yet, I hope you all enjoy. This story is about my former mother-in-law. Let me lay out some of the backstory. When I was 16, I officially came out to my family as bisexual. My own ethnic background is Brazilian, born and raised in Massachusetts. I have two sisters, not blood related, but my sisters nonetheless, a mother and stepdad. And I guess Massachusetts is called Texachusetts because of the insane Texas or something? Please let me know in the comments. Anyway, my sisters came into my life in a non-traditional sense, and I actually set up my parents when I was 5. Look out Cupid, we were a happy family of 5. I grew up Catholic like most Brazilians. Fun fact, Brazil is the highest concentration of Catholics outside of the Vatican. My mom, while originally a fervent believer when I was a kid, she slowly became disillusioned as I got older. We stopped going to mass just before I came out. My parents accepted my coming out with some hesitation. It was a while before they were full allies, but I was okay with that. Now they find ways to embarrass me at Pride, like trying to find me a nice girl or boy to settle down with. When I was 17, I was the typical black-lined, sleepy-eyed emo kid, you know, the one who hated her difficult life of loving parents, fantastic sisters and like-minded friends. I was with these like-minded friends when I went to a show, ETF, and met Jay. Jay was a gorgeous brunette who sang along to my favorite songs with me. We met in line for the show. In my opinion, concert friends are always fun to make, but usually they are friends for the show and eventually disappear, becoming a happy music-induced memory. Jay did not. Jay became one of my friends on MySpace and eventually warmed her way into my top 8 and my heart. Jay was perfect in my eyes, beautiful, obsessed with my kind of music, similar likes and dislikes, and most of all loved me back. My parents and sisters liked Jay too, my mother especially because Jay was half Brazilian. She literally and figuratively spoke both of my mother's languages. However, I will concede to one act of stupidity. Give me a break though, I was young, dumb and naive. Jay and I did the stupidest thing when we were 19, going on 20, we got married. Jay and I are no longer together. We only lasted under 3 years in holy matrimony, 5 years in total. Jay and I divorced after we realized we were not in love. We just loved each other in a way that, while romantic, was not healthy. We were the stereotype of every codependent relationship. It was not healthy and we knew it. We broke up and cut off all communication for a while and eventually formed a now healthy friendship. We are still friends. And by the way guys, I just have to quickly chime in. I'm curious, have you ever been in a codependent relationship? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, to continue with the story, she is in a healthy relationship with her partner as of writing this. Look to my parents trying to set me up at Pride events as my current relationship status. Jay, however, did not have as much as a stable upbringing as me. Jay's parents separated when she was young. Her dad chose military life over which of an ex-wife. She refused the divorce initially, but her head was forced as she refused to live the same state as her husband. Jay's mom would move them to a different state. Jay's dad would request to be moved to the closest base so he could see his daughter. Jay's mom would move again. Basically, the military was not going to foot a rent stipend for married couple who was only married on paper. The divorce also forced Jay's mom to allow her to see her dad, otherwise no child support. She got no alimony due to a prenuptial agreement, which was a win-win for Jay's dad, kind of. I have come to liken Jay's mom to every bad stereotype I've heard/thought up of a Brazilian female. Obsessed with her image, her daughter was an extension of that image. God is good if it serves her best, money means everything, snobbish, gold-digging witch. Jay was cracking under her pressure. We met at a turning point in her life. She was starting to grow a titanium spine, but was still so used to be ground down to nothing by her mom. Jay was forced to be a thin, pretty, preppy girl, like one you would find in a Hollister or American Eagle catalog. By the time we met, she had an ED and was only just finding her real self. She honestly thought this was a cultural thing. She was shocked when I, who also had a Brazilian mom, was out of the closet, did not go to church and could do what I wanted within reason. Jay's mom liked me at first, mainly because I knew women like her and knew how to play their game. I was introduced as a friend because no way in heck would she accept her daughter as gay. I checked all of her mother's boxes, well, except one. I was in trade school to be a plumber. She did not think that was ladylike. Otherwise, I was a good little Catholic Brazilian girl who called her tia, aunt, and asked for blessings whenever leaving her presence. Oh yes, I was the perfect little companion for her daughter. Little did she know what happened when the doors were closed and she was not home. I will keep it PG. The truth eventually slipped out a year into dating. Jay and I were caught, unbeknownst to us, by a flying monkey acting all cute at Target. Jay came home to her mother confronting her with screaming, hitting, and she was eventually kicked out with nothing but the clothes on her back. No cell, no car keys and no wallet. She walked to my house and got there just after 8 with a swollen cheek, red eyes and voice cracking with tears. My stepdad took her in from the cold and we all sat with her as she just cried on our couch till the tears slowed. My parents let her stay, of course. My parents were fine with her staying with rules in place. No hanky-panky of course, my parents were not strict, but did require we girls clean our space, no crazy loud noises, no curfew for over 18, but call if you will be home after 10, etc. I was helping Jay with filling out insurance paperwork in the dining room so she could hopefully start therapy soon when there was furious knocking at our door. A cold chill ran down my spine as I walked towards the door, being the closest other than Jay to it. I was not going to let Jay answer it. I mean, take one guess who it was. I answered the door only to be met with a smack to the face by none other than Tia, which, TW, if looks could kill, I would be smited on the spot. She brushed past me and into our house. She found Jay in our dining room. Jay, like a deer in headlights, froze, and before she could react, TW stormed over and grabbed her by her hair and attempted to drag her out of my house. I screamed at her to stop and tried to stop her, but only caused Jay's hair to be pulled tighter. The commotion drew the attention of my stepdad. My stepfather came into the room and grabbed her wrist and squeezed till she let go, then wordlessly threw her out of the house, akin to Uncle Phil throwing Jazz out of the house in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I have to inject a little humor. By the way, has anyone else seen that series? When I was younger, I kinda enjoyed watching that. Anyway, she howled and banged at our door till she realized that her imitation of the big bad wolf would not work. This was not, however, our last encounter. Let me know if you want to read more. Future mother-in-law and future sister-in-law corner me with their baby rabies. First of all, thank you so much Ripe for reading my story. Future hubby was excited to hear you read it as well. I replied to some comments with details to help people who were up/confused about it. But I figure I should address some things before I write out this story. I would appreciate it if you read it too. First of all, my future mother-in-law's hubby at the time is/was a cop. Yes, that actually happened to me. He cleaned a shotgun and assault rifle he had from work. No, he was not cleaning it like you usually do. He had a shit-eating grin the entire time and was cleaning the barrel slowly. I mean slowly. He also never cleaned any of the interior. He put the rifle down centimeters from my plate with the barrel pointed at me while he cleaned the shotgun maybe a foot away from my chair. Also, I know YouTube does not like guns. You can censor it however you want. It seemed to confuse people when you said phallic-shaped candy, but that is why, folks. He was stroking a gun barrel literally like one would stroke your private part if you were attempting to show off. Also, various members of his family were giggling during this because it made the northerner uncomfortable. I was born so far north in America that I might as well been born on the Canadian border compared to where I live now. Anyway, same year as the Christmas shenanigans, earlier post, but in the summer. My future hubby and I, lived in a very crappily insulated trailer in a trailer park. This means in Louisiana hot, humid summer, we are dying in it. It was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit outside and 80 degrees F inside. AC was blasting the entire time. My future hubby brings up the fact future mother-in-law has a pool and maybe she's willing to have us over. We were desperate to cool off. Public pools cost money due to maintenance. Future mother-in-law agrees to have us over, then decides to make it a party without informing us. We arrive at future mother-in-law's house and it is packed. There was mother-in-law's husband, his kids, their kids, cousins, aunts and uncles, and a couple of family friends. Apparently, we are having a barbecue. We were supposed to clean the pool for future mother-in-law, but we arrived too late and the other kids, future mother-in-law's hubby's kids, had cleaned it. I go into the bathroom and change into a swimsuit. Future hubby does the same. I'm going to mention several things that were odd that kept happening to just me. Every time I went to the bathroom that day, someone always tried to get inside. It was not always future mother-in-law and future sister-in-law, but it was often them. Second, I kept getting pressure to watch the actual kids in the family. Third, future mother-in-law kept fishing me for information. From big things like, "Where do you see your future with my son going?" to small things like, "So what TV shows do you watch?" At some point, I am in the pool alone as everyone is devouring some sort of Cajun food I cannot eat. By the way guys, just to quickly chime in, as far as I know, Cajun food is usually common in Louisiana, so that leads me to the question, what is your favorite Cajun food? Let us know in the comments, and now let's continue with the story. Future sister-in-law suddenly joins me. I don't really care for her. She has done a number of crappy things to future hubby, including destroying his property when she was damn well old enough to know better. I swim some laps, she does the same. Weird. She has not swam any laps since now, but whatever. I start to dive off the board and trying to do tricks since I cannot injure the kids. I come up and feel myself get bumped/pushed. I cannot see quite yet. By the time I do, I'm literally in the corner of the deep end. I am short, my feet cannot touch the pool's floor. I panic a little, grab the sides with both hands. That is when I realize future sister-in-law is keeping me in the corner with her legs and is staring at me. "Hey OP, I need to know something." Oh god, what now? I ask her what could she need to know and suddenly she smirks. "Are you and my brother having sex yet?" My face quickly became red. Confused, I ask her, "What?" She repeats herself. I don't remember if I told her or not the truth. I remember asking her, "Why? Why does that matter?" Her grin turns into a baby rabies excited face. "Because I want little nieces and nephews." I just nod. She finally frees me. I scamper out of the pool. I dry off just in time for everyone else to come back out. Now, future hubby's grandparents are here. I remember relaxing because they have stuck up to me before. I go inside for some reason, I think food. Apparently this is when future sister-in-law tells his grandparents that we are trying for a child. We had only been dating for a little over a year and had moved in together less than half a year at that point. In my eyes, way too soon. I am in the kitchen in a swimsuit and my towel to help stop me from tracking water. I grab some food, put it on a plate and grab silverware. Before I have a chance to take my first bite, I feel the talons of a Karen around my wrist and I am jerked further into the kitchen. I was very hungry from all the exercise, so I'm sure I sounded more rude than I did. This is all paraphrased as this is still years ago. Me, what? As I'm being pulled. Future mother-in-law, she makes an annoyed face. "So, you told me you and my son see a future together." Me, yes. It's rude to not say yes/no ma'am in the South, but I was not raised in the South. Future mother-in-law gets more annoyed. "Does that include children?" Me, what? Children? I can feel my face turning red. Future mother-in-law, "Yes, sweetie, children. Are you and my son planning on having children?" Me, yes, but much later, maybe years later. Future mother-in-law, suddenly excited and chipper. "Oh, I see. Good. I hope you start living a less sinful life before you have them." She is insinuating that my future hubby and I should be married. She finally lets go of my wrist. Me, okay, I'm going to eat now. I quickly leave to go outside and find future hubby. I remember leaving shortly after eating and changing my clothes. I explained to future hubby about what happened with future sister-in-law and future mother-in-law. He informs me if they corner me again about children to tell them, "That's none of your damn business." He was pretty irritated about the whole thing. Apparently, future mother-in-law's hubby at the time had tried doing something similar to him and that did not work out nearly as well. Future hubby takes less crap than me and does not care about being rude to his family anymore. And with this, leaving future sister-in-law and future mother-in-law under the impression we want kids and we're trying for kids, somehow they managed to convince future hubby's grandparents of this as well. Mostly twisting the crap out of my answers, this caused problems by his grandparents later, a story for another time. Feel free to read all of this too, I love your videos, Ripe. Well, thank you very much, Burnt Out Plumber, because we really enjoy your mother-in-law stories. By the way, one thing I'm curious about, is it true that people in the south of the US are more polite? At least polite in terms of saying yes ma'am, yes sir, and so on. Where's that coming from anyway? If you have an idea, please feel free to let me know in the comments. Just no father-in-law / am I the a-hole? First, I love this channel. Okay, a little background. I started dating my hubby when I was 15 and he was 17. He has always lived with his grandparents and his dad. His parents were only 14 when he was conceived. Back then there was a forced marriage, his mother was driven out with lightning speed, his dad and grandmother were mean and nasty. I was barely able to deal with them when we got married at 23 years old. They always hated me, I was a gold digger just out for his family's money. I later told his grandma to have it rolled up and stuff her with it when I cut all contact. For all these years, the only time I was good enough was when one of them needed a medical procedure. They were hypochondriacs, so over the years this was often. They needed me to leave my children with someone else so that I could take care of them. One year, many moons ago, it was Father's Day, the kids and I took presents to them. We, my children, 7 and 9 at the time, found, let's call him Pumpkin, in a bar. The girls had a card and gift certificate and a balloon that they took to him, all smiles and giggles to him yelling, "Happy Father's Day!" He said, "I don't effing want it. I waited for something in the mail and it didn't come." I saw red, I put my crying babies in the car and went back to him and told him off. Lots of swearing got everyone in the bar giving him shit, and that was the last day my kids had to look at him. I went no contact with him and his mother, my husband went LC, which means low contact by the way. Fast forward a couple of years, someone for the hospital called my husband and said he was in the hospital and we needed to get in there quickly. I only went as support for my hubby, we got into his room and Pumpkin's brother and his family were in there. So we chatted for a bit and he called me to his bedside and asked me to lean in close, he needed to say something. Not an apology, not asking for forgiveness.
"Don't let them put me in a nursing home, move me in with you and you take care of me."
I was stunned, silent only for a couple of seconds. I said, "That will never effing happen." I stood up and walked out, he died the next day. His wicked mother dies a few days before him. Do I feel bad? Hell no! Well, to be quite honest, I'm not really sure if you are the a-hole here or not, since I don't really like talking about dead people, but judging by how you describe him, he did not seem to be a good person. But either way, I will forward this question, whether you are the a-hole or not, to my audience. 33 years and counting. Mother-in-law is mean and no one cares. They just laugh it off. My husband and I have been together for 33 years. I have many stories, but we'll start with just one and see how it goes. My mom passed away 12 years ago, just before Mother's Day. Dad and I went to a greenhouse and bought a beautiful arrangement for Mom's grave, an arrangement for my mother-in-law and 2 hanging baskets for me. We put Mom's flowers on her grave. The next day I gave mother-in-law her flowers. What she says next still blows me away. She took one look at the flowers and said,
"Did you steal these from the cemetery?"
I just stared at her in disbelief. "No, I picked them out for you." Mother-in-law,
"Well, I don't like them, but these hanging baskets are beautiful."
"I know, that's why I bought them for myself." Then I took the flowers I bought for her and left. My husband felt bad that she did not get anything for Mother's Day, so he told me to get her a gift card from JCPenney's because it is her favorite store. Several weeks later, I asked her what she bought with her gift card, and she said,
"Oh, I don't like JCPs anymore, so I gave it to my
entitled sister-in-law." My husband felt bad again that she did not get anything for Mother's Day. I told him that I gave up, no matter what I get her, she will hate it. So he goes out and buys another present for her, perfume. When she opened it, she looks at me and says,
"Oh, I don't like this perfume,"
and lays it aside. My husband says, "But I thought you always loved this one, so that's why I bought it for you." Suddenly she picks it up and says,
"Oh, I do love this one."
My husband still does not believe that she is mean to me. I no longer buy her gifts. Guys, by the way, I have to ask one question that is really important for me. In regards to Christmas or birthdays, do you also have people in your family or in general in your life that never seem happy regardless of what present you buy them? Some people seemingly cannot appreciate that someone else bought them a gift. Let me know if you ever had to deal with a person like that. I was right, my family did hate me. The last story in your video today reminded me of what happened with my family. I used the term loosely. Sorry about this being so long. I have come to terms that I am incapable of writing short stories, fictional and real life. I was adopted and I always felt like I never belonged in the family. Little comments, things like that. My parents told me I was imagining it. People who saw me around my family told me I was just imagining it. Eventually I started to think that maybe I was the problem, not them. When I got married, the hubby already had orders to go to another base. He was military. But while we were on our honeymoon, my dad died. Was not a surprise, he had been sick for a while. I offered to come home and stay with her for a while, but she told me no and to go to our new base. After the two of us asked several times and her giving us the same answer, I did eventually go to the new base. Family though saw this as some sort of betrayal, even though mom told them that she told me to go, that she had family and I needed to go with my husband. After that, they became obviously standoffish instead of the closeted standoffish they had previously shown me. To the point where my mom noticed, but not much she could do. They told her they were not angry and you cannot really push after some point. Did not help that my mom and I had issues, long story, and yeah, it got bad. About 16 years after my dad died, my mom met someone and they moved in together. The house was hers, so they did not have rent or a mortgage to worry about, and he just picked up the utilities and condo association fee. Not a big HOA, 8 condos in all total, 4 up, 4 down. We did not get along very well, but he made my mom happy, so I just dealt with it. Then my mom died after having a stroke and all Hades broke loose. This guy started telling people of things I was supposedly doing, like he claimed that I was trying to take their joint car away, when it turned out the day after my mom died, he had taken her name off of it and put it in his name only. The family already did not like me, so they were willing to believe anything bad he said about me. The funeral thing in the story really hit me. I did the same by following my mom's wishes, and that was it. They all completely turned their backs on me. I ended up muddling through her will, etc., but I did it with a friend, not my family. Net result, after the funeral they never contacted me again. I tried staying in touch, but whenever I had set up times to meet with them, something always came up. Tried sending Christmas cards? Nope. I had developed some physical health problems and just did not have the time and energy to deal with it, so I just stopped trying to stay in touch. I don't bring this up very often and I always am at a loss when someone asks me about my family, because it is weird having to try to explain this. The poster of that story very much has my sympathy. I have lived with that sort of betrayal and it is very hard to get over. Again, sorry about the length, it just needed some explanation for it to make sense. Actually, Merlot, if I pronounce your name correctly, the length of the story was completely fine. And you also have my sympathy, because what you have been going through is definitely extremely tough. You also have my respect for being so strong, because I'm pretty sure not everybody would be able to cope with that the way you did. But unfortunately guys, this has to be the last story for today. Once again, thank you to every ripe star that is still posting stories on r/ripestories. And by the way, we are already almost 700 subscribers on the subreddit, so if you are not subscribed to the subreddit yet, please go to Reddit and come join us. In any case, I hope you have a fantastic day and I see you again tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching.